That group does represent Christian, Jewish and all values of any religion. So let's clear that one up for a start. I'm not going to go for my voting record, and I'm not going to argue and play dirty politics. I'll leave that to others. Thank you.
The reason why I'm standing for the Green Party is, in some ways similar. We, don't necessarily get the media coverage that we feel that we deserve, and people do think that we are simply a single-issue party. And I hope that through what I said to you today and through some of the answers to my questions, you'll learn a little bit more about the Green Party. I hope that you'll look into what we stand for, and I hope that by standing here, it will increase awareness, of what we're about. And also, I think it's, I want to give people the chance to vote Green in Ilford North. I know this area very well. My family are from Howard Hill, Havering. I lived just the other side of the Green Man roundabout for some years. I spent far too much of my life stuck on the A12. I do know, what the issues are around here, and I think that there are Green Party policies that are very relevant.
Son.
I was born in Newham and grew up mainly in Newham and the Walton Forest area. But I've spent my life since about the age of 15 working for the community of East London, including Redbridge. The problem was I came to a stage where, as a community activist, there was only so much I could do. I wanted to change so many things, but I just couldn't do it from the outside. So that's when I decided that I needed to get involved and stand for Parliament.
Alex, if you could just, probably if you talk into it, that would be fine.
I have started politics since I was in high school. The present Prime Minister in Ethiopia is my classmate. All my contemporaries in politics. The education we had was in such a way that we are educated to serve the community, to serve the society, to serve the country. That's how we were brought up. And the best way to change society is to participate in a political system or in education. The purpose of education is to change others' life, not your own. If you want to feed yourself, you could earn it as a bricklayer or driver or doing anything. But when you take education, you take an oath to serve more than 5 people. Thanks to the education I got, now I'm serving closely more than 50 people I'm helping through the business I have. And moreover, the English family who brought me up made me to love people, to serve people. I have traveled across from China to America, and the reason why I speak 7 different languages is the love I have for people. And my politics from this is differs from the conventional politics here. Is more of populist. Serving the people gives me great pleasure. And this is why I feel very much attached to you, emotional. This is what I was saying. I'm closer to your heart. See the Sylvia Pankhurst, who's her son, Richard Pankhurst, was my history teacher. And this is why when I was given different constituency, I chose Ilford North, where I would meet Sylvia Pankhurst's family where she was working. That's why I'm interested to be involved in politics.
I am timing, I'm giving 2 minutes only the questions, so you go on too long. Something just struck me then, a mobile phone went off. You could turn off your mobiles and Blackberries and everything else. It certainly makes it easier. I've got mine on, but I'm using it as a timer because I haven't got a second hand on my watch. Is there another question that we could take? One over here. You can get down and hold the mic and then you'll put it in the right place.
Okay. My name is Riaz. I'm a resident of Ilford North. And economy question. I mean, this is going to be a really important part of the general election, I think. Now, we all know that we're going to have to pay for the problems that the bankers have largely inflicted on us. Now, do you think the best way to do that is to raise the threshold for inheritance tax to £1 million?
I'll take it first. Yes. First off, inheritance tax is probably one of the most unfairest tax you could possibly have. Everybody in this room pays tax. I would guess in their lives they pay tax. And then you're going to have another tax on the tax you've already paid. Do you think that's right? I'll ask you, do you all think that's right? So therefore, there are taxes that can be brought in. I've openly said that I do believe banks should pay an extra tax, and David Cameron and George Osborne have said that in the last 2 weeks. But I think inheritance tax is probably one of the most unfairest tax, and that's probably why, if we go back 2 party conferences, why Gordon Brown changed his mind in the space of 24 hours on it. Because he suddenly realised that that is what the public wanted.
Yeah,
When it comes to economics, we have the right man, Vince Kevin. We have seen the debates. If at all any party comes, many people have said, I think we should have Vince Kevin. And as a disciple in his keen discipline, I teach economics. I think I would be an ideal person to understand and to get the recovery going smoothly and in a smoother and a better way. On this issue, I'm sure you have heard our manifesto. It's the Liberal Party who said we should tax higher, above 1 million. And there was a lot of hoo-ha. As a listening party, we reduced it to 2 million. And now, on tax issue, we are planning to give you £700 back to your pocket. Because the economist like Vince Cable, who had a big experience, he's a doctor by the way, PhD, he's not just Mr. Vince Cable, he's a Dr. Vince Cable, knows from the ground when consumers have got money in their pocket and the economy starts to work. For the fourth, very important, we have the Liberal Party as a peaceful party is going to cancel or annul all the military expense like the Trident, which will bring plow into peace, building schools, nurses, hospitals, and fill up the ports on the roads we have. And this company is the right man for that.
Yeah, I do believe we should increase inheritance tax. I also think that we should have a suitable threshold level that, as we have, Labour has changed the threshold level. Cancelling Trident, I'm all for that, but redistribution of wealth is something that Labour believes in truly.
I mean, I've already raised the sort of issue of inequality and how that really does have a toxic effect on our society. And, you know, the Green Party aren't ashamed to say that we don't really want to see just, the rich getting richer. We have some radical plans for inheritance tax. Actually, we would be looking at inheritance tax really depending on the wealth of the recipient rather than the donor. So we'd be really looking at trying to spread wealth around.
Robert. You started on the question of the economy and what's been happening in the last part of the crisis, the bankers' crisis. I think we have to start with the reality that our whole society is out of kilter, and every now and then we have to realise that we've made a mistake and we have to retrace our steps and start again. The way that bankers are paid these wicked amounts of money and with that money can gamble on the safety of other human beings in society, I think is sick. My figures are out of date by at least 2 years, which means they've increased. But I wrote a report in 2007 on the ratios of pay. The ratio in America between the top banker and the bottom member of staff in the same bank was 470 in 2007 in America. It means the chief executive got paid for 1 minute what probably the cleaner got paid in 1 day. When the society gets like this, it's gone bananas. It's gone bananas. I got on my socks, words of Martin Luther, here I stand, I cannot do otherwise. Somebody's got to stand up and say, stop. Things like that. I don't know about every tax, any tax to some degree has an element of injustice in it. The other side of the coin is this stupid paying out for everything by the state, the nanny state. Don't matter what it is, if you need a plaster, run to the government. If you want an aspirin, go to the doctor and get a prescription. We've got to stop this. We've got to grow up. We've got to become strong again. We've become weak as a society, and we're bleeding strength. And we need to start with working out what is hard work and how can we reintroduce it. How can we get that ethic back into young people? Because they've lost it. There are generations of people, grandparents, parents, children, have never worked. And they're just, I know somebody comes up to me regularly, he just won't work. He was supposed to go on a course
for 3 months because they're getting back into work.